Greetings. Welcome to Lecture 15. We're going to discuss the paper, A Framework for Analyzing Workgroups by Michael McCaskey. What McCaskey looks at is the role of people, tasks, and formal organization, these three characteristics, in influencing group design and group culture, and what do managers need to know in order to lead groups and also, to participate in groups. A group context. The following aspect of the context should be considered in studying how a group works: the purpose of the group, the physical setting, characteristics of the company, its size, the nature of the business, location, history, etc., the environment, competitors, suppliers, regulators, as well as the broader environment, the political, social, economic, and legal systems. All of these factors influence the support received by the group from the rest of the organization. But we have three real design factors, three dials we can turn, levers we can pull on in terms of designing a group. And these are the people that we assign to it, the task we assign to it, and the formality or lack of formality of the organization. So let's look at design factor one, the people. What are their skills and interests? What are their learning styles? Are they very, very active in terms of wanting to solve things right now? They're doers, or do they tend to be more analytic? What are the values and assumptions? And what's the preference of the members for things like variety, structure, and challenge? The second factor is the task. Interactions are required among people. A variety of activities are involved. They can be novel, new, creative activities, or they can be fairly routine. And the degree to which the work pace is under an individual's control. These are all things that are task factors that influence how a team works. And then the formal organization. What is the hierarchy of authority inside this group? The pattern of reporting relationships. Are there formal measurements? How is the group evaluated and controlled? Are there reward systems? Are they individualized? Are they for the group? And what about the selection and recruitment of who is going to be a group member? So once you put this group together, McCaskey would then hold that the group begins to form a culture. And a culture, he defines, is the pattern of behavior, our group's interpretations of what they've been asked to do. This is our mission. Management has put us together to do this thing, to act in this way, to make this deliverable. And out of this, norms and roles apply. Norms and roles, rituals, stories, and language. Nothing is more powerful in socializing a new group member than telling stories about how other group members got themselves in trouble with management or became heroes to management. That's very effective in terms of educating, socializing new members of the group as to what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. What are the expectations? So norms are expected behavior that the entire group believes its members should exhibit. So all groups follow norms. To violate norms is to invite social censure. You'll be seen as not really part of the group, not a team player, not really a contributor, off to the periphery, maybe not an outsider, but still off to the periphery by violating these norms of the group. When a norm is blocking effectiveness, it must be changed with care. Understand why it's a norm. I worked in a business. This is kind of a silly example, but I worked in a business that was housed in an older building, and it was a bit rough around the edges. It was actually very rough around the edges. And we had one conference room that was okay, it wasn't that bad, and we kind of jokingly had referred to this room as the Taj, a reference to the opulent Taj Mahal, but it wasn't that opulent, but compared to the rest of the building it was. And we got a new general manager, and he was just appalled at the thought of this kind of okay conference room being referred to as the Taj. So he actually, and this was kind of foolish, because one of the norms of this business was, we were housed in a pretty rundown building, but there was kind of like a little bit of pride about that we might have the worst facility in the group, but we're the best anyway. We're the best in spite of that. So that was kind of one of the group norms And this manager kind of violated this norm by basically prohibiting people from calling it the Taj. So I got a call one day that they wanted me to come to a meeting, and the meeting was in conference room 3145, and I hesitated for a second. I said, "Where's that?" And they goes, "Oh, well, that's the room that we used to call the Taj." So that's what it became. I kind of liked that, and I kind of spread that, and other people liked it and spread it. So pretty soon we were following this manager's prohibition against referring to this room as the Taj, but we were supporting our own norms by calling it that room that used to be the Taj. So the norms won out. So understanding why something was a norm. I mean, this is a silly example, but it would have behooved this manager to understand that there was a norm underneath of this action, and he probably would have done better to have understood that and respected that norm, because the norm just went around him anyway. A role, so that's a norm. A role is social behavior expected from an individuals, and roles develop based on skills and interests inside the group. So the group culture, rituals and stories and language, we talked about stories about past deeds, shorthand language. These draw boundaries around the group so that you'll understand that, and a mental map of the world around them. What's the model of how the world works and how we interact with it? So what you have here, and this is my last chart, but this kind of sums everything up that McCaskey's talking about. When you build a group, when you assign a task to a group, you've got three decisions to make. You can decide what people to put into this group, you can decide what the task is, and you can decide what level of formal organization. So you've got three things you can do here. And these people performing this task in this organization are going to interact. And as they interact, they will form a group culture, these norms. And as this group culture hopefully becomes effective, outcomes are going to result from this group culture. That production, that they get the work done, satisfaction to the members, growth, and then there's some feedback. If you have outcomes, then that supports the culture. A little bit of a feedback loop here, and also depending on the outcomes can also follow this feedback loop back to the interaction that you've got here. Now, as a manager, if things aren't working correctly, if the norms of the group that have developed are not productive, it's pretty useless to go in and tell this group to stop behaving that way. Stop following this norm. That's kind of like this guy telling us to stop calling this conference room the Taj. That was trivial, and you're dealing with a more substantial project. What you've got is you've got three levers you can pull on. You've got people. You can change the people in the group. Add people or subtract people, or both. The task that you've assigned this group to do, you can modify the task. The degree of formal organization, you can change that. So you pull on one of these levers, you change one of these things that are under your control, and then the group interacts with this changed group interacts, develops a modified culture, and comes up with different outcomes. Much more productive, this is again according to McCaskey, much more productive than just going in and demand that the culture change. It may or may not, but if you understand that this culture came from an interaction of these three things, these three entities, the people, the task, and the formal organization, and you do have control over these as the manager, change one of these, change these things after thinking about what is it about the outcome that you don't like, and what is it that you think it's about the norms or the rituals or the boundaries of this group that's producing these suboptimal outcomes, and how do you want this group culture to change, and then look at which one of these things, people, task, or formal organization, do you believe is responsible for these non-productive suboptimal norms, and then take action to change those things, and then observe very closely and perhaps even some guidance as the new norms develop. And that would be McCaskey's argument. So this is a way, remember one of the things we said that we have to be good at is building teams, and this is an analytical tool for you to look at a team and look at its behavior and determine if you're not happy with what it's doing, how to make changes, how to adjust the group culture, which is going to result in adjusted outcomes. So I hope you found this interesting, perhaps, well, I hope you found it useful, perhaps even interesting. And I appreciate your attention, and I look forward to our next discussion.